Hello and welcome to The Nation ASEAN Plus. I'm PASHA Rahim at Wisma Bernama in Kuala Lumpur. Every weekend, we bring you stories that made the week and insightful perspectives from across a dynamic and diverse region. We've had some significant developments in the ASEAN bloc this week, but we begin this week's big stories right here in Malaysia. Malaysia and New Zealand reaffirmed their commitment to the ASEAN 5-point consensus on Myanmar, urging the State Administrative Council to honour its commitments to ASEAN leaders and fully implement the consensus to resolve the political crisis. Malaysia's Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim and his New Zealand counterpart, Prime Minister Christopher Luxon, urged for an immediate cessation of violence, the release of those arbitrarily detained, unrestricted humanitarian access and meaningful dialogue for a peaceful resolution in Myanmar. Luxon also met with Anwar for a bilateral meeting where both leaders reiterated their commitment to deepening the Malaysia-New Zealand strategic partnership signed in 2023. Still with the Prime Minister, Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim is optimistic that the official visit of Polish Minister of Foreign Affairs Radoslaw Sikorski to Malaysia will significantly strengthen Malaysia-Poland cooperation. Anwar said he had received a courtesy visit from Sikorski, adding that their discussion focused on efforts to further solidify bilateral relations, particularly in areas such as defence, digital economy, agricultural exports and the palm oil sector. In 2023, Poland emerged as Malaysia's 8th largest trading partner within the European Union. During a bilateral meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin on Wednesday, Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim said while agreeing that the true potential of Malaysia-Russia relations has not been fully utilized, Malaysia is committed to enhancing its collaboration in all fields with Russia. During the meeting, Anwar also assured Putin that as ASEAN chairman next year, he will strive to boost the regional grouping's collaboration with Russia in all fields. This is Anwar's first visit to Russia and his first meeting with the Russian president since assuming office in November 2022. Meanwhile, Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim also announced at the Eastern Economic Forum in Vladivostok that Malaysia intends to join BRICS bloc of developing economies. In a discussion with Russian President Vladimir Putin recently, Anwar said the focus was whether Malaysia should join BRICS immediately or start as a partner country.
Being in BRICS would allow us to benefit and share. Malaysia now is this hub for semiconductor in the region. There are some fields that we can share, but there are a lot of other areas we can. But I think the Global South network of BRICS would give us an opportunity to leverage, to ensure that there is a fair trade practices, that the international financial infrastructure is not monopolized by one country or one region. And then essentially, it will be beneficial not only to Malaysia, but I think to the global south and naturally to the whole world.
As the incoming ASEAN chairman in 2025, Malaysia is committed to accelerating the clean energy transition and will work on strengthening regional cooperation and enhancing connectivity across the region's energy systems. By doing so, Malaysia's Deputy Prime Minister Fadilah Yusof, who is also the Minister of Energy Transition and Water Transformation, said ASEAN could make significant strides towards a sustainable and resilient energy future for all member states. Azerbaijan's Foreign Minister Ceyhun Bayramov met with Dewan Negara Deputy President Nurjazlan Mohammed and his accompanying delegation on Monday. Azerbaijan National News Agency reported that the Malaysian delegation had arrived in Azerbaijan to observe the snap parliamentary elections for the country's unicameral legislative body, the Milli Majlis. The meeting included discussions on Azerbaijani-Malaysian bilateral and multilateral relations, the process and results of the early elections to the Milli Majlis, as well as regional issues. Moving on, the Ministry of Transport will seek the cooperation of other airlines to maintain or increase their flight frequencies. This followed an announcement by the Malaysia Aviation Group, or MAG, to reduce the number of flights and routes between now and December 2024. Transport Minister Anthony Loke said the action by MAG was necessary for the company to address its technical issues. Loke said the public can still get flight tickets from other airlines. In other developments, the government is working on repatriating 7 Malaysians after they were suspected of entering Philippine waters unknowingly last Sunday. Home Minister Datuk Sri Saifuddin Nasution Ismail said negotiations to bring them back are ongoing. Last Sunday, Philippine authorities detained 15 individuals, including 7 Malaysians and 8 Chinese nationals, on suspicion of illegally entering the country's waters. I'm off to a break, and when I come back, we'll take a look at other developments in other ASEAN countries. Don't wander off, I'll be right back. This is The Nation ASEAN Plus. Welcome back. We continue The Nation ASEAN Plus with Indonesia. Pope Francis met with Indonesian President Joko Widodo at Istana Merdeka Presidential Palace in the capital Jakarta on Wednesday. The Pope opened his visit to Indonesia with a packed first day, meeting political and religious leaders and setting a rigorous pace for an 11-day four-nation trip through tropical Asia and Oceania that will test his stamina and health. Francis arrived in Jakarta on Tuesday to kick off the longest, farthest and most difficult trip of his pontificate given his myriad health problems. Pope Francis wrapped up his visit to Indonesia on Friday after celebrating Mass before an overflow crowd of 100,000, a final celebration before heading to Papua New Guinea for the second leg of his 11-day journey through Southeast Asia and Oceania. The 7-year-old Pope had no official events Friday beyond a farewell ceremony and the 6-hour flight to Port Moresby, giving him something of a break after a packed 3-day program in Jakarta. In other news, Indonesia planned to sign business deals worth $3.5 billion with African countries as it hosted the second Indonesia-Africa Forum on the resort island of Bali. The second Indonesia-Africa Forum, which ran until September 3rd, aimed at enhancing economic cooperation between countries to boost trade and investment as Jakarta sought to expand its export markets beyond traditional trading partners. We move to Singapore. The Republic's Prime Minister, Lawrence Wong, said Singapore remains fully committed to supporting the United Nations' efforts to strengthen multilateralism, including the upcoming Summit of the Future. Summit of the Future, to be held in New York from September 22nd to 23rd, will bring together world leaders to accelerate efforts on existing international commitments as well as take concrete steps to respond to emerging global challenges and opportunities. Wong said he had a productive meeting on Monday with UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres, who was in Singapore for his first official visit to the island republic from August 31st to September 2nd. According to the state broadcaster CCTV reported on Monday, China's People's Liberation Army Navy and the Republic of Singapore Navy kicked off a bilateral maritime exercise. According to Singapore's Ministry of Defence, the drill started on September 1st until September 5th. The joint drills include joint search and rescue operations as well as practical training in the use of weapons. According to China's state news agency Xinhua, this is the third time that China and Singapore are conducting such a maritime joint exercise. India and Singapore signed MOU for cooperation on semiconductors, digital technologies, skill development and healthcare during Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to the city-state on Thursday. Modi was greeted by his Singaporean counterpart Lawrence Wong and received a ceremonial welcome at the Parliament House before taking part in bilateral talks. The trip marks Modi's fifth visit as Prime Minister. And now shifting to Thailand. According to the Department of Disaster Prevention and Mitigation, the country is preparing for significant rainfall in the coming days, with 44 provinces at risk of flash floods, overflows and strong waves. The department's Director General said that heavy to very heavy rainfall is expected in some regions from September 3rd till September 7th, 2024. Since August 16th, monsoon rains have triggered flash floods and landslides, resulting in 22 fatalities and 19 injuries across Thailand. And now we move from Thailand to the Philippines. Residents in the Philippine province of Rizal struggled to scrape and shovel away the thick layer of mud covering their homes after floodwaters from Tropical Storm Yagi subsided. Yagi, locally known as Enteng, made landfall on Monday in the eastern town of Casiguran in Aurora province, south of capital Manila. On Wednesday, the National Disaster Agency and police said the death toll from floods and landslides caused by Typhoon Yagi has reached 16 in the Philippines, with 21 reported missing. Next, according to NASA, a small asteroid discovered on Wednesday harmlessly burned up in Earth's atmosphere the same day. The asteroid was spotted by astronomers in Arizona and broke apart over the coast of the Philippines hours after the discovery. This space rock, dubbed the 2024 RW1, is only the 9th to have been spotted before its impact. Asteroids around this size hurtle toward Earth about every 2 weeks without posing any danger. Turning to another story, a former town mayor accused of cybercrimes has arrived back home in the Philippines to be presented to the media after being deported by Indonesia. Alice Guo, 34, is accused in the Philippines of helping establish an illegal online gaming and scam center, catering mostly to clients in China. Indonesian police arrested Guo on Tuesday in the outskirts of Jakarta. Guo is also accused of being a Chinese spy and of faking her Filipino citizenship, which allowed her to be elected in 2022 as mayor of the rural town of Bamban in Tarlac, province now north of Manila. She has denied wrongdoing and will continue her legal process in Manila. Now it's time for me to take another short breather. We'll come back with more updates across ASEAN. Stay tuned. This is The Nation ASEAN Plus. Welcome back. You're still with us on The Nation ASEAN Plus, where we bring you news updates from across ASEAN countries. Let's continue with the latest from Vietnam. Vietnam News Agency reported that the country has had over 400 green buildings with a combined certified construction area of about 10 million square meters, exceeding the target set by 2030. The report says the current number of green buildings in Vietnam is fairly average in the ASEAN region. In 2023, Vietnam ranked 28th in the world in the number of green buildings certified by the LEED system by the U.S. Green Building Council. According to the National Energy Efficiency Program, Vietnam aims for 80 green buildings by 2025 and 150 by 2030. In Cambodia, Prime Minister Hun Manet said that the country has planned a budget of more than $200 million to complete the construction of a border ring road within 10 years. The Southeast Asian country shares borders with Vietnam, Laos and Thailand. Hun Manet launched on August 26 the Border Infrastructure Development Fund aimed at raising additional funds to enhance infrastructure along the country's borders, with a prioritized focus on the construction of the border ring road. He said to date, almost 400,000 people have donated money to the BIDF and that the fundraising is still going on. In another development, according to a press release by the ASEAN Plus 3 Macroeconomic Research Office, or AMRO, Cambodia's economy is expected to grow by 5.6% in 2024, up from 5% in 2023. The growth will be driven by an increase in garment exports and a continued recovery in the tourism sector. The Southeast Asian country's growth traditionally relies on garment export, tourism, agriculture, as well as construction and real estate. AMRO chief economist said Cambodia is among the countries with the fastest growth in the region. Moving across to Myanmar, the Winga Bao elephant camp, located 75 kilometers northeast of Yangon, witnessed the rare birth of twin elephants on August 26. Pearl Sanda, a 21-year-old female elephant, delivered the female twin named Pearl Sint and the male elephant named Kiao Pearl was born 4 minutes later. Both twins are in good health. Winga Bao, which opened in 2016, now houses a total of 9 elephants, including the newborn twins. The camp is well known for being a sanctuary for orphaned baby elephants who have lost their parents due to illegal elephant trading activities. On to news in Brunei. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi was greeted by Brunei's Crown Prince Haji Al Muhtadi Billah as he arrived in Bandar Sri Begawan on Tuesday. Modi's trip marks the first ever bilateral visit by an Indian Prime Minister to Brunei. The Indian leader held bilateral discussions with Brunei Sultan Haji Hassan Al Bolkiah. According to him, Brunei has been an important partner in India's Act East policy and Indo-Pacific vision. India has always given priority to ASEAN centrality and will continue to do so. Modi's visit coincides with the 40th anniversary of establishment of diplomatic ties between both countries. And now, before we wrap up, let's shift our focus to news updates from outside the ASEAN region, but still related to ASEAN. Timor-Leste President Dr. Jose Ramos Horta is confident that ASEAN will admit his country as the 11th member when Malaysia becomes the bloc's chairman next year, unlocking trade and economic potential for the young nation. According to a statement from the Malaysian embassy in Timor-Leste, Ramos Horta said that ASEAN membership will become a reality when Malaysia hosts the ASEAN Summit next year, as Malaysia remains a strong supporter of the resource-rich nation's bid to join the powerful regional grouping. Ramos Horta also called on Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim to continue his nation-building exercise to position Malaysia as a developed country in ASEAN. And that is all the time that we have for today. This has been your weekend insight into ASEAN. Stay informed with the Nation ASEAN Plus only on Bernama TV. Don't forget to keep yourself updated. Log on to bernama.com and this will also link you to all of our social media platforms as well. You can also tune in to Bernama Radio on 93.9 FM. I'm PASHA Rahim. Thanks for tuning in. Take care.